Hey, yo, Daniel, this motherfucker hard, my boy.
Me and my killers don't wanna be actors. Me and my killers don't wanna be actors. They wanna shoot shit, they wanna be rappers. Pushing weight, they certified trappers.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Little Man Reacts, and today I got a request via donation to do Trevor Moore Escapes from Mexico off This Is Not Happening. I've never heard of this comedian, but I'm really excited to jump into it. This is only 11 minutes, 35 seconds, so I probably won't pause during it. I'll let it play. That way we get a feel of the whole set. Shout out to Dribbly Bob on that donation. I really appreciate you, man. So before we jump into this thing, guys, like, comment, subscribe down below. You already know. Let's go, guys.
I jump out of my car, and I just had this moment where I looked at him, I said, "You can't make me go to Mexico."
Welcome to This Is Not Happening presents World of Blunder. If you've never been to the show before, it's just a bunch of comics telling fun stories about real shit that happened. Give it up for a very funny man, Mr. Trevor Moore, everybody. Let him hear it.
I went down with a bunch of friends to ComicCon in San Diego. And it was fun. I did the first day where you just go and you walk the floor and you look at all the commercials for movies and stuff. But then by the second day, I was like, all right, I've already seen it. I want to do something else. So I thought it'd be fun to go to Tijuana, which is about 30 miles south of San Diego. So I started telling people, well, I think this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm just going to take the day and go down to Tijuana for a couple hours and come back. And everybody that was from San Diego was like, don't do that. They're like, Tijuana has changed a lot in the last 10 years. There's a giant drug war going on, and if you don't know what's happened, there's a drug cartel that has basically completely paid off the army. And then there's another drug cartel that doesn't like the first drug cartel, and they've paid off the police. So it's just constant war, and people disappear, they get kidnapped, and it's a very scary place. And so everybody was telling me that, and I was like, whatever. And So I got one of my friends to be like, yeah, I'll go down to Tijuana, I'll go for a couple hours, it'll be fun. We're like, okay. So we got in the car, we drive down, we're excited, we park the car on the American side, and we're walking through, and there's no line. And we're like, terrific. So we're going through, and there's this big wall that you can't see over, and there's a building inside of it, and that's where the Mexican customs is. So we walk through, we open the door to the other side, we're in Mexico, and the door shuts behind us, and the first thing we see is the longest goddamn line I have ever seen in my life to get back into the United States. It went down a street, it came back, it went back, it was like, it went, you couldn't see the end of it, and we're just like, holy shit, did we just make a huge mistake? What do we do? And then there's another line of cars, and the cars are all stand still. No one's moving. So we start. Oh, and by the way, they're right. Tijuana is terrifying. It's like a whole town that's like that bar in Star Wars. And so, like, you know, we're just there. I tried to buy a soda, and I swear to God, the guy selling me the soda was like, "Do you want to buy Crystal?" And so it means everybody, because the only reason people go down there anymore is to do illegal stuff, so everybody's trying to sell illegal stuff. Someone offered us guns. It was crazy. So we're trying to find a way. We're trying to figure out what do we have to do. Do we just get back in this line? Do we not see Tijuana at all and just wait in this line? And we start talking to people. The line to get back into the United States is 6 hours. The car line is 10 hours. And it's because we came through on like the last Sunday of the month. And that's when everybody does the going over or something. I don't know, but they said it was. That's when everybody does the going over. And But they said it's like literally the worst day we could have picked to go. So we're like freaking out. We don't know what to do. We talked to a guy who has a car, and he says he's a taxi guy. And we're like, okay, and he speaks a little English. And he's saying, well, you know, if you come back in a couple hours, it dies down a little bit. So just, you know, take a taxi ride, go to downtown, see some stuff, and then come back. And we're like, okay, all right, yeah, maybe we'll do that. And so then we get in the taxi, and then he leaves, and he's not the guy that's going to drive us. Some other guy gets in, and then he takes off. And we're like, what's going on? Where are we going? And we're just driving down this line of cars, and for the first time, we're seeing how long this line of cars is. And it's miles. And we're like 2 miles away from the border. We don't even know where the border is anymore, just a line of cars, so we just follow that. And we're freaking out, and we're trying to get the cab driver to stop, and he doesn't speak any English whatsoever. We're like, we don't know how hard it is to get a cab where we're going. We don't know where we're going. So we're like, stop, and we're freaking out, and I'm trying to figure out my high school Spanish. So I know coche is car, and I'm saying like, and I think alto is stop, because it sounds like alto, so I'm going, alto coche, alto coche. I find out later alto means tall, so I sound like a crazy person to him. And eventually we land on no. We're just like, no, no, no. We're just yelling no, 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 because no, even in Spanish, is no. No means no, universally. So he just stops the car, we give him some money, and then we start walking back towards the border. And we're walking on this elevated highway with no sidewalk, and it's all these cars, they're all stopped. People are just like hanging out by the cars. It's like one of those disaster movies where like the wave's gonna hit or the meteor hits or something. And there's this whole industry that's cropped up of just people selling stuff to everyone who's stuck in this day-long line. So people are like grilling meat, and there's all these little shops. There's this really weird thing that's popular in Tijuana right now, which I don't understand. I tried to Google it, and I still don't know. But we stopped at this one guy's tent, and they all had this one thing, which is this giant framed velvet poster of Marilyn Monroe doing that like, oopsie, my dress is going up pose. But she's also holding a Tommy gun and shooting people. I don't know what that is, but that's huge in Tijuana right now. So we're walking. It takes us about 2 hours to get back to the border. And so then we get to the border, and we're talking to people, and we find out that there's a guy who has a bus. And if you give him some money, you can get on the bus.
Guys, I'm going to pause on this because so far this is just like a story. To me, there hasn't been really anything funny yet. Maybe it's going to come in a bang at the end. I know I said I wasn't going to pause in these videos, but alright, let's jump back into it.
And there's a special VIP bus lane to get over the border, and that only takes 2 hours. So we're like, okay, we can do this whole thing for 4 hours altogether, fine. We pay the guy the money, we get on the bus, it takes 2 hours, we get over the border, Customs gets mad at us because my friend doesn't have a passport, but they let us through. We get through, and we're like just before kissing the ground, kind of. Like, we're that excited. It feels so good to be back in the United States of America. And you know, I've complained about this country a lot, and I have my issues with it, but I've never been more patriotic than coming back from 4 hours in Mexico. And so we're celebrating, and we're so excited. We get in our car, and we're just like celebrating. We're like, we did it, we did it. We're gonna go back to San Diego. This is awesome. We're out of Mexico. And my car has a really shitty GPS system where it likes to tell you to take a turn right as you're passing the turn. So we're driving, we're celebrating, and then my car's like, take a left, and the left was back there. So I'm 3 lanes over, I can't get over to it. So I'm like, oh no, I just missed the left, what's gonna happen? And then the road that I was on went right back into Mexico. And I went from being the happiest I've ever been to the saddest I've ever been. We started freaking out. He's like, what did you do? And I was like, it was my GPS, it's a bad GPS. I don't know, it's not my fault. And we're just driving towards it, and this Mexican flag is getting bigger as we're getting towards the border. And it's 6 lanes of traffic one way, and there's cement walls on the side, so you can't pull over on the curb or anything. And we're just getting closer to this Mexican flag, and we're freaking out, because now we have the car, and we can't go back to the bus guy. We've got to get in the 10-hour line. We're gonna be there till 4 in the morning, and nothing good happens at 4 in the morning in Tijuana. So we're freaking out, the sign's getting closer, I don't know what to do, so I panic, I just hit the brakes, I jump out of my car, and the car just stops there, and the Border Patrol people go crazy. They don't like it when you do that. So they're all yelling. They're like, what is wrong with you? Get back in your vehicle. Get back in your vehicle. And I'm like, I made a mistake. I don't want to go to Tijuana. I was just there. It's horrible. I don't want to go back. And they're like, get back in your vehicle. I'm like, I can't. I don't want to go across the border. So then they're talking on their walkie-talkies, and they're all mad. And then there's this Border Patrol guy comes, and there's a metal fence that he can talk through at me. And he's like, you have to get back in your car, and you have to go. And I'm like, I tell him the whole story. I'm like, we were just there. It took all these hours to get back. We're supposed to be back in San Diego. I made a mistake of GPS. He's like, I don't care. You're past the point. Like, you're in the lane of traffic. You have to go. Get in your car and go. And I just had this moment where I looked at him. I said, you can't make me go to Mexico. I'm an American citizen. You can't kick me out of my country. And then he looked at me, and then he started talking on his walkie-talkie, and everybody was like mad. I could see everybody was upset about this. And then they all came out, and they shut down 6 lanes of traffic to let our car go across. They shut down the whole border to Mexico. So we got to the other side, and they just descended on the car, and they were like shining lights in our eyes, like, are you high? Are you drunk? What is wrong with you? And I was like, honestly, we're just stupid. I'm sorry. And so they were like, get out of here. And we drove, and we didn't celebrate this time because I didn't want to jinx it. I thought if we like celebrated a little, the border would pop out of nowhere and be like, you're back in Mexico. So we got home, and that was the most traumatized I've ever been in my life. And the only thing that I learned about it is that no matter how much you fuck up, and no matter what you do in life, nobody can make you go to Mexico. That's the only thing I learned. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys, there you have it. Trevor Moore escapes from Mexico. As far as the comedic side, there was maybe a couple things that was, a little bit funny, but this one really wasn't. It was more of a story than funny. I see what he tried to do, but maybe the delivery wasn't there. But I am not, not willing to hear more from Trevor Moore, so that's a good thing. I definitely would like to hear something because he could be funny, but this was just more of a story. But shout out to Dribbly Bob on that donation. And this is new. The comedy thing is new for us. So if you guys are into comedy and you guys want me to react to some stand-up comedy, let me know down in the comments, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. Where we going next, guys?
Yeah.